You know, we hear all the time about how AI is going to change our jobs, our economy, whole industries, right? But what if the biggest change, the most profound one, isn't happening out there? What if it's happening right inside our own heads?
So, what if the real story of AI isn't about the machines at all, but about us? Not just what it's doing for us, but what it might be doing to us. How it's kind of quietly reshaping the way we think, how we focus, even what we choose to remember. It's not really a question of if AI is changing the world anymore. The real question is it fundamentally rewiring our brains?
Okay, so to really get a handle on what's happening with AI, we've actually got to look back in time. Because, this isn't the first time our tools have changed how we think. Not by a long shot. In fact, it's a pattern that's as old as history.
I mean, just think about it. First, we get writing. Suddenly, we didn't have to memorize every single story and piece of history. Then came the printing press. And boom, knowledge wasn't just for the few anymore, it was for everyone. And then, of course, the internet. It completely flipped the script on how we find information. Each one of these things, it changed our mental habits. Slowly for sure, but permanently. It was a kind of rewire.
But here's the thing, AI is different. It's a whole new ballgame. It isn't just a passive library like a book or a website that just sits there waiting for you. No, AI is an active player in the game. It's processing information, it's predicting what's next, and it's even making decisions for us. And because it's so active, its influence is just so much deeper, and it's happening right now.
And this new power is causing a huge shift in the way we solve problems. We're basically moving from one way of thinking to a completely different one. So, it used to be that when we had a problem, we'd work it out in our heads, right? Step by step, using logic. But today, well, we've got AI assistants, Google, you name it. It's all right there. And so the most important skill is changing. It's less about knowing how to figure out the answer yourself and more about knowing the perfect question to ask the machine. And there's a really interesting trade-off here, isn't there? I mean, this is super efficient. It saves a ton of time. But it also changes us. When you don't have to struggle to find an answer anymore, what happens to skills like patience or the ability to just think deeply about something for a long time? They start to feel optional. And like any muscle, if you don't use it, it can start to fade away.
And the way these AI systems are designed, it just pours gasoline on this fire. They're not built for you to sit and think quietly. No way. They are optimized for one thing: speed. For keeping you engaged, for a constant, never-ending flood of stimulation. There's always something new, always another notification.
And what happens over time? Well, our brains get trained. We start craving that constant input. We start avoiding silence, avoiding boredom. So the real risk here isn't just that we're getting distracted more often. It's something deeper. It's that our brains are being rewired to the point where we might actually forget how to truly focus without that constant buzz from our devices. And this whole rewiring thing, it's not just about our attention spans. It goes deeper. We're seeing huge changes in a couple of other really core parts of being human: our memory and how we make decisions.
Yeah, this quote really nails it, doesn't it? We no longer remember information, we remember where to find it. For so many of us, our brain isn't the main hard drive for facts anymore. It's more like a search engine index. It's been optimized to just remember where to look for something, not what that something is.
And this idea of outsourcing our brain power, it goes way beyond just facts and figures. Think about your daily life. We've handed over so many little decisions without even thinking twice. Your navigation app, it doesn't just suggest a route, it decides your route, and we just follow. And what about the stuff you watch and read? Recommendation algorithms aren't just giving you options. They are actively shaping your reality, deciding what news, what shows, what ideas you get to see. And now, it's getting even more personal. AI is right there in our messages, suggesting the very words we type, the replies we send. It's literally getting inside our conversations. So all this decision-making is shifting outwards. And let's be clear, it's not because we're not smart enough to do it ourselves. It's happening for a much simpler reason. It's just easier. Letting the machine think for us is the path of least resistance. Okay, so where does all of this leave us? It sounds a little scary maybe, but it's really important to say that this rewiring isn't automatically a bad thing. It's not damage. What it is a choice, a really critical choice between two totally different paths forward. Down one path, you've got the risk. That's the future where we just let automation take over. Our own judgment gets weaker, our curiosity fades, and we kind of forget how to think for ourselves. But then there's the other path, the evolution path. In that future, our own intelligence is supercharged by AI. It frees us up, lets our minds tackle bigger, more creative, more important problems.
So how do we make sure we take that second path, the evolution one? Well, the key is remembering what makes us human. What our brains do that AI, for all its power, just can't. Things like understanding meaning, dealing with tricky ethical questions, real creativity that comes from living life, and, of course, self-awareness. That's still our turf.
Look, the future isn't about throwing away AI. It's about using it with intention. It's about following a few simple ideas. We need to use AI to assist our judgment, not just replace it. We should use it to support our focus, not let it shatter our attention into a million pieces. And we've got to use it to expand our world, to broaden our thinking, not let it trap us in a tiny little box.
And in the end, that's really the most important thing to remember here. The outcome of this massive rewiring of our brains, it's not set in stone. The machines are not in charge. We are. The future of human intelligence is going to come down to the little choices you and I make every single day about how we use these incredibly powerful tools.
So I'll just leave you with this to think about. In your own life right now, is AI a tool that's making your mind stronger? Or is it maybe quietly reshaping it in ways you hadn't really thought about? The answer to that question, well, it's going to define not just your future, but all of ours.